Hey everybody, well I wanted to come to you with another video to talk a little bit about the next section of this course. So we're doing a few different things and I'll try to connect those things to the two big things that we still have left in the course. One is that English history project. So now that we're finished with Disa Logoi, we're going to start putting some emphasis on that. And that's going to come in the form of looking at short stories, watching some film, and kind of getting a feel for decades. So one of the things that I really want you to think about as you're finishing up your book is getting to know the time that that book was written, getting to know the decade that that book was written, or the era that that book was written, and really kind of getting to know what that time felt like. And we're gonna approach how that book kind of talks to its time, and whether it does a successful job. That's the prime focus of the English history essay. So one thing that you could do is really spend a good amount of downtime getting to know different kinds of media from that decade. So if you're thinking about the 1970s, the 1970s is an era none of us were alive in. I wasn't born until 1982. Hi, Twain. But I still have a feel for what the 70s were like, because I listen to music from the 70s sometimes, or I'll watch films from the 70s, and I'll kind of have a sense for what America looked like in the 70s. There are a number of different ways to do that. Like I said, listening to music would be a good one. Coming up with, what were the best picture winners of that era, or something like that, and trying to get your hands on one or two of those might be a good way to do that. What did television look like from that time? So starting to think about doing some of those things. And the nice thing about that type of activity is, it can be pretty downtime. You can use time that you're regularly relaxing and still be relaxing, but kind of still getting something out of that time. So a way to kind of double dip. So as we experience film and plays and short stories and those types of things, I want to make them kind of era specific, and we're going to be having conversations around that. The other prong of what we have left is the AP test. So we got some information on the AP test today. And the good news about the AP test, maybe it's the bad news too, is that it will be one question that you have to answer. It's the one that I think students traditionally have the hardest time with, because it's all about analyzing an essay using rhetorical strategy. So we're going to be spending some time kind of honing those things, being specific. The big thing that we've done in this class that we kind of did right before spring break that we haven't really followed up on is logical fallacy. But we're going to be looking at some other things too. And that's where today's activity is going to come in. So I've given you an assignment through Classroom. It's a quick write. I want to give you today to do that. I think you can do it in one day, where you're going to watch some clips. The clips are all supposed to be very funny. Some of them are a little political. You certainly don't have to watch every clip, especially because satire is offensive. That's part of what it's going for. If you are offended by something, shut it off. You by no means need to watch all the clips. However, I think they're all pretty funny, and I think you will too. And then we're going to do a writing exercise with those clips. Tomorrow, as I've indicated in the email, I want to do a live session, and I'm going to try to stream for us an episode of The Simpsons, and we're going to do a little discussion on that. So I do anticipate that will take about 40 minutes between watching that and talking about it, and I will do two sessions. We'll always do two sessions when I do the live, the discussions. And then the last thing, finishing your book, right? So that's really the next big priority. Finish the book hopefully around Friday. And I want to offer, you can either do a film like you did the last time, or we can have a conference about it. And we can do it that way. If we do a conference, I would prefer to do video or phone because we kind of have to have that back and forth. And we'll just spend some time talking about your book, which is something that definitely, if we were in a traditional class, I would be making time to talk to all of you about your books. So it's a way to get that in. So again, quite a lot that's kind of going on. Later this week, we're going to get to that first film, and I'll have an activity for you. But I wanted to start with this and just kind of that conversation about satire, and we'll talk a little bit about parody later this week as well. All right. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you really enjoy these next couple of lessons.